the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shah, the Gathering of Christ Church, here with our weekly Patreon update. It feels so good to be back amongst the saints for Patreon. Shalom. I thank the Most High in the name of Yeshua for another opportunity, another day to come before the saints of the Almighty. And yes, I see you. How you doing there, Kim? How you doing, Kim? She's here all the time. Monica, how are you? Shamika. Mrs. Thamyad, how you doing? Elder Dell, I see you in the house. My brother. Say hello to the mother. Sharon, how are you? Ephraim 33. Mr. La Sean Perry. Selwyn Lloyd. All the brothers and sisters. Mrs. Thamyad, Joan Hicks, Eleanor, how are you? How are you? It's so good to be back for Patreon. I thank Elder Lawyer, Ramar, and all those who work in the vineyard of the Almighty for covering me the last couple of weeks since the Passover. Boy, I'm priming for a serious year. Traveling not only throughout the earth, in different parts of the earth, but making sure we visit every church as we round into the coming of our Lord and Savior. Yes, there's so much I want to talk about on Patreon today. Now, even though Patreon, brothers and sisters, will be an open discussion today, I really would like to focus on, to some degree, what's going on in the earth. With the Satanists seeking to draw our people in to another provocateur scenario where we are beat over the head, destroyed, or even killed protesting. Okay? And I'm going to talk about that today. It's about time we allow the Babylonians, the Americans, the world to fight their own battles. It seems as if there's any cause in the earth, they try to what? They try to provoke us emotionally into something that would lead to more deprivation and or destruction against our people, while everyone else benefit from our depravity. So the questions I have out there, and I'm going to talk about this on Patreon. Aren't we tired? I'm going to tell y'all right now, if y'all didn't know politically what's going on with the battle between Jacob and Esau. Well, in 2nd Ezra 6, 8, and 9, it states that Esau is the end of the world. So Esau, the Edomites, would be the biblical character in power at the end of the world. They're not white. They're not European. They're not You can call them Caucasian. There's many labels, like they've placed many labels on us. But all in all, it's Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of the world that followeth. So it's upon Esau's interest politically to do what? To always have blacks as the indirect target in every circumstances. In every circumstance, blacks will become the indirect target. It doesn't matter whether or not it comes off as philanthropy. It doesn't matter if it comes off as the government is seeking to help the underprivileged. It doesn't matter if they're seeking to heal us from sicknesses. It's always an avenue to come in and further destroy the progress of God's awakening with his people Israel. So what I hope to do today is to bring forth some certain examples so that we're not pulled in to the next provocation that will indirectly destroy us. We're the target. It doesn't matter the narrative. And I'm so glad, better late than never, that our people are beginning to realize this. Right? Something go on in Wuhan, China, and all of a sudden you got Fauci and the politicians knocking on our door and asking us, are we going to take, a jab or something? You see how that works? It always starts one way, but work itself around. Now, before I transition, I'm going to set it up and let you all know what I'm going to be discussing on the other side in one moment. Right? Some tea here, and it's good. Speaking of tea, right? So we're going to talk about this because some people out there may have received from the DNC text messages, emails, privately. And don't forget, folks, they have bots and they also have people of the other nations working for the governments against us in order to instigate our people into these particular protests that are coming. This year, this will be the first, starting tomorrow, April the 5th, will be one of many that they'll be seeking to engage our people or instigate our people into. And they got a lot of money out there to instigate us, because without our emotional attendance, right? Without the numbers of our people showing up, none of these protests has any teeth. Okay, they cannot progress anything unless the targeted demographic is involved. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay, now let me put this out there because I see how the DNC and the demo nuts and the Satanists are framing what's going on with what they would call Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Okay, it's not about Elon Musk or Donald Trump, folks. It's about getting us engaged and provoked into a circumstances, into political circumstances that will destroy us. But what they're trying to claim now is, well, because all the other people didn't vote along the lines of black interests in the United States, is to why America is under so much, I would say, problems that would lead to divisions, programs taken away, social unrest. I'm even hearing Nazism being put out there, that this is a Nazi regime, and It's because all the other people didn't follow the blacks to the polls. That's the new lie they're putting out there. Okay? In order to pacify the ignorant of our people. Why didn't we just follow the blacks to the polls? So in actuality, what they're saying is, for the next election, right, that if they vote Democrat the next time, then things will be better. It have nothing to do with us per se. They are trying to claim, well, the black women voted 90% clip, and the black man voted 83 to 84% clip. Right? And I'm going to tell you, with these so-called ways, the way they do numbers and data, they can fix any data to make it the outcome they want it to be. Okay? Now, what they're saying is 90% of the black women who actually voted. What they're saying is 80% of the black men that actually voted for Democrats. See? What they're not telling you is the millions of us that said we're not involved anymore. We see the trick from either side. See, that's not in their hardy numbers. So they're trying to make it seem as if all the other groups would have followed the blacks in the 90 to 80% clip, that Trump would not have been voted in. And it's all a lie, because the majority of us who didn't go to the polls is the reason that Trump won. It doesn't matter that the few blacks or the few black men or women who voted, it doesn't matter that they did it at 80 to 90% clip, because they're only counting the people who actually voted. So that's a way to pacify or to claim or to try to massage our people into saying, yeah, we are important. Look what we did and these others didn't do it. So now don't come to us now, or whatever the case might be. All right. So again, don't fall for the Democrat mess. Okay. They're just trying to do what? They're trying to pacify our people into believing that we can get anything out of the process. Okay? When really the only people that are getting anything out of the political coffers are the others who they're using to undermine us, our people. Right? So let's talk about it real quick. Let's talk about it. Let the world fight their own battles. They're seeking to get our people out for this protest. Right? What protest? Fair use for educational purposes only. For educational purposes. All right, let me pull it up. What protest? Do not go out to these DNC protests. Okay? Don't do it. I'm going to tell you why. 1 second. And our people are becoming more politically savvy and understand that they're being used for the benefit of other people. Other people benefit when we protest. Okay? No one really cares about the suffering of our people, right? Fair use. So what protests are they seeking to do tomorrow, April 5th, on the Sabbath too, mind you? And again, we're not supposed to be out there.
If you haven't heard what is happening this weekend, you need to. April 5th could be huge. We are talking about potentially millions of people mobilizing across the country. These are called the hands-off protests.
The hands-off protest. Okay? Now, mind you, not that this have anything to do with him, but this is a gay guy. Okay, who usually do liberal-leaning takes concerning bad Republicans, right, against the victims whom are Democrats, all right? So that's his play, okay? A DNC plant.
And this is the same progressive coalition to a degree that came together after the 2016 election when Donald Trump was elected. This time, these protests are going to be targeting really sort of like a fresh round of authoritarian style policy changes, these executive orders, the sweeping government cuts, the DOGE stuff headed at least for a few more weeks by none other than Elon Musk. By the way, DOGE may not even exist come June 1st, and we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Fair use. Okay, for educational purposes only.
Later in the show as well. I am both extraordinarily inspired to see that these protests are happening, and I also have some words of caution. You know, one of the things I talked...
So he's inspired that these particular protests are happening, right? They're making it seem as if what Elon Musk and Donald Trump is doing is going to ill affect black people or poor people in the United States. That's what they're telling us. What Elon Musk and Trump is doing is going to affect the programs that helps underprivileged, who are Israelites, black people and people of color. When they say people of color, it's usually talking about blacks when they're seeking to financially benefit themselves off of us being victims, okay? But when there's benefits or money that goes towards people of color, it's for all other people outside of us. Okay? So when it comes to them trying to get money off the coffers, they use blacks as the people of color. They use our face to smash open the door, then throw us on the ground and let all the other people of color come in to snatch the bags. Okay, that's how it works.
Talk about in my book, The Echo Machine, is that there are forms of activism that historically have been shown to be effective.
Okay, so there have been shown to be, let me go back here. One of the things I talk about in my book, okay, his book, The Echo Machine, is that there are forms of activism
that historically have been shown to be effective.
That has historically been shown to be effective. When massive rallies happen in urban areas, urban is code for where black people live, in urban areas. So what form of activism have been effective in urban areas that have actually benefited us? Right? Let's go back to feminism, where the feminist the white feminist, because it was really white upper class to middle class women who were seeking to get some equal finances amongst the white upper class rich men. That's what it was about. Okay? White women weren't going to allow black men to get the right to vote and get access to finances above the white woman. That's what it was really about. But guess what? That particular, I would say, movement didn't have teeth until Gloria Steinem held a fist up with a black woman to have black women join in to the feminist movement. Now the questions. How have the feminist movement benefited our black women? The feminist movement would not have become what it was unless they were able to get our black women to join in. And guess who have suffered more so from feminism than all women? The black woman. Her voice was used. See? Her spirit was used to spearhead something that would benefit every woman, even the East Indian women that come through in America, the Asian women who comes through, even the white woman initially. Now, our women have feminist values that they know black men will never ascribe to. And now what? The family have been utterly decimated because they were able to get our women to join in to a movement that didn't concern them. When the black man and black women were suffering under the white man and the white woman. They weren't supposed to join a movement that would only benefit white women. I'm going to show you how backwards that was, that our women began to do activism with them. How ridiculous it was, right? Black men don't accept it, and now the families are utterly destroyed because they're tired of the battles here. And now the white women coming in who have the benefit of feminism with femininity, and they're now cherry picking all of the men that would benefit. I'm talking about the successful men that would benefit the future of our families going forward. So not only did the white women get feminism and power, they also were able to now get in a position to now point to our sisters and say, look how disagreeable they are when you fed them feminism. See? So it starts off with them doing what? Because none of their particular movements has any teeth unless they can get us, or the simple of us, including black men, to join in with their activism. See? Now, here's some examples. The Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement. We all hear about how the Jews marched with blacks during civil rights. How the Jews, we hear this over and over again. How the Jews marched with blacks during the civil rights, who understood the plight of blacks who suffered here in America under white oppression. Now, who have benefited more so from this movement when you look at both groups? Who's in a better position? The blacks or the Jews? Now, I can understand what the Jews got out of this movement, but what did we get out of it? You see how activism, as soon as we have a great movement, other people can see the political benefit of it because they know how to cash in on the other side. Now, what do I mean by that? Folks, you have to understand, I don't know if any of you took civic classes in school, right? You have to understand the political purpose for activism. When you look at the Constitution, the right to protest. Well, why is it in the Constitution? Well, protest affects policy. Policy leads to laws being passed, and usually there's funding associated with the outcome. See? Now, so people aren't marching just because they have issues and need issues solved. People are marching through activism because they know that the politicians are going to vote in legislation that would lead to finances, nonprofit finances, federal finances going towards these causes. So you need black people out there to do what? To stir up the political ground that would lead to your politicians going and now voting things in for those particular protests. It's a money game. Okay? So now, you had the Jews march with us during the Civil Rights Movement. We hear it all the time. But look at us. Look at our place in the earth, politically and otherwise, opposed to theirs. So some would say that they benefited more so from the Civil Rights Movement than we did. Let's get another one. Speaking of protests that was undermining our people the whole time, ABC News reports June 21st, 2020. From the start, Black Lives Matter has been about LBGT lives. It was never about doing anything for the poor people who went out there to stomp against the aggression and the death of George Floyd. Folks, they had so many of our people going out there not realizing that all the other groups, including Asians and all that, the immigrants and all that from other countries, Chinese and all that, would benefit on the other side of this without our people getting anything. And it was more about LBGT, according to ABC News, than anyone out there actually caring about the suffering of the children of Israel or Judah here in America. Look at this. This is ABC News. How many of you knew this? Look at this. Now, check out how they were selling this to us, though. See, there's two narratives. The narratives that they use to feed into our emotions to get us out there. And then it's the white liberals and the nut jobs working behind the scenes to now pass the legislation after using the uprising so that they can now set up nonprofit organizations and get federal funding, finances in the billions of dollars siphoned through their private nonprofit companies. That's why you can go into another area where black people don't even live, and you will see Black Lives Matters signs. It's a movement off of the backs and death of black people. What are they showing? This is what they're showing for those who can't see. If you kill a black man from the tribe of Judah, then everyone will benefit financially. Outside of that black man's, outside, allegedly, outside of the people they're using for the front. See, subconsciously, y'all don't understand what this is showing the world. If a black man dies, then there's money for everyone else. See? That was the outcome. Our people didn't benefit from the death of George Floyd. See how it works? If a black man dies, everyone else benefits. The black woman doesn't benefit. The black families don't benefit, but now they can push legislation from the what? From the uprising that comes with the dissension or the people who are incinerated. That's what they need. They need the emotional response that leads to legislation that would incentivize the enemies of our people against the same people they're using to front every protest. Now I'm going to show you what they were giving us. Right? This is what they were giving us during the protest.
We are protesting for Black life, and that's really important. These are protests for the life of Black people. Black lives matter! 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 Black lives matter!
Same thing. Everyone else marching with us while our people suffer. Black Lives Matter was a political movement through the DNC to undermine the same black people they claimed they were marching in interest for. The same black people they claimed that they were standing for. Folks, these are the same political groups that have been undermining us since slavery. This is ABC News, so I don't have to say allegedly here. This is ABC News. From the start, the founders of Black Lives Matter have always put LGBTQ voices at the center of the conversation. The movement was founded by 3 black women, Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi, 2 whom identify as queer. By design, folks. By design. The movement they started in 2013 has remained organic, grassroots, and diffuse. Since then, many of the largest Black Lives Matter protests have been fueled by violence against black men. Well, why wouldn't they have violence against black men? If black men die or harmed or whatever the case is, usually everyone else benefits politically and otherwise. Even the crime bill of 93 and 94 with Bill Clinton and Joe Biden. We went to jail for almost nothing. They put drugs and guns in our neighborhood so men can kill each other, so that now that women wouldn't have any man to raise their children, and now the others benefited. So I think people are fools out there that would march when a black man is killed. You out of your mind. And a lot of you might think that's backward. Because they're not going to put legislation in place to make sure black men aren't harmed in the future with an anti-crime with an anti-crime bill for those who would kill a black man. See? It's incentivized. When you march, you're giving them even more finances and fuel to come against our sons. You'll be a fool to go out there and march thinking it's for the cause of helping black men. See? They're celebrating the death of black men through their rituals. And that's what they're not telling you. These queers are the same people, allegedly. Obviously, they have a problem with men, these women who marched. Obviously, they have a problem with men. Right? Obviously, these women have a problem with men if they chose to marry women. See? So how would I have women who hate men leading the charge and cause for men? So in actuality, if you look at it from the subconscious, they're truly celebrating the death of the black man because they understand the future of Judah according to prophecy. All right. So now they're going to try this again. They're going to try this again. And I wonder how many people are going to be fooled into doing this, going out there. Right? Now, I'm going to show this on the other side, right? What am I going to show on the other side also? Right? February 2024. DHS announces re-parole process for eligible Ukrainians. Right? For the last few years since 2022, look at this and look at this good, folks. I'm showing y'all something that all goes together. It runs in together. Since 2022, the U.S. government has welcomed approximately 200,000 Ukrainians through humanitarian parole protections that allowed them to live and work in the country for 2 years. Now, what does this all have to do with the protests and all that? Well, it was the Democrats that wanted all these people to come in, right? Right? Before Trump. So they can't claim this is a Trump thing and all this other stuff when they allowed these people to come in. Right? They allowed these people to come in and they want to keep the programs in place that will sustain them financially. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you let all these other people in through re-parolees, 200,000 whites, Ukrainians, which can also be considered, a lot of them, Jewish to a lot of degrees, right? Now you have what? A leveling of the population where you're leveraging off where white people now can multiply and stay the majority. But there's something else. They're being re-paroled. What is re-paroled? Well, if you're re-paroled, according to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, folks, if you're re-paroled, you receive a Social Security number. See, re-paroled citizens for certain Ukrainian citizens and their immediate family members, folks, under immigration, they would receive a Social Security number. Right? See? Social Security. Look, here it is. An appropriately stamped Form I-95 arrival departure record. Right? Now, this is what they was able to receive. The foreign passport who is not work authorized incidents to their status can only apply for a non-work Social Security number if eligible for information and eligibility for a non-work Social Security number. Now, you might wonder, well, what does this have to do with the protests and everything else? Stick with me. Well, if you let 200,000 people come in with what? Social Security numbers. They don't have to work. Now some of that nonprofit money could be used with that Social Security number to gain grants and benefits so that they can open up their own businesses right on the top of the people who built the country. They don't need to work. They can apply for grants. They can set up their businesses like you see foreign businesses popping up all over the place. See how it works? And on top of this, because they got a Social Security number, guess what they can also do, folks? They can apply for Social Security. People who had no business in buying into the Social Security, like our people who apply for it. They can just cross the border, get a Social Security number, and they'll call it a non-work. Well, they don't have to work. All of this money has been siphoned in through nonprofit companies and all that because they got Social Security numbers now, and they can use it in the future to vote, go into another state and vote. Undermining the children of Israel here in America. How many of you knew this? And this is why I put out there, let the world fight their own battles. I can understand why the white liberals are out there protesting. Because guess what? They benefit from the programs they set up in our community to profit off of what? Victimhood. They need us as perpetual victims so that they can benefit because all of this federal money that goes to their nonprofit companies. And at the end of the day, they're going to hire all the other people when they set up businesses and others. They're going to hire them for employment, not us. They're only using us as victims. They're only using us for protests, as a voice, because no one can stand against injustice like we can. See? 200,000 of them are here already with Social Security numbers. And our people are homeless. We're being put out. They're going up in taxes and all these others. And it's the white satanic liberals who are behind all of the oppression we're going through right now. It's them. Right? So here it is. We're supposed to hear what this guy has to say. He's going to tell us why we should protest on April 5th.
When mass rallies happen in urban centers, especially numerous urban centers across the country, they get noticed. And this is one of the most effective forms of protest historically. We vote. Does signing petitions do much? I don't think so, especially not online petitions. Signing to put things on the ballot locally, that's one thing. Signing online petitions, I don't think it's very high up. It's certainly not high up on my list. Calling elected officials, yes, absolutely. But what are the forms of protest that have been demonstrated really to affect change historically? And mass rallies at urban centers are one of them. They can't be ignored. It's where people work. It's where people live. It's where you have news stations filming and reporting. But the goal isn't just symbolic. It's also strategic, but it only works if the protests are three things. Okay, this might be the most critical line from today's show. Let's keep today's show rather than deleting it immediately after recording. Okay, the protest must be massive, nonviolent, and inclusive. Now, what do I mean by inclusive?
Now, hold up now. What do we mean by inclusive? Now, I remember massive, Martin Luther King, Farrakhan Million Man March, massive, nonviolent, Martin Luther King, Farrakhan's Million Man March, nonviolent. But he has something else here. And it has to be what?
Nonviolent and inclusive.
And inclusive. See that? Now without us, it will not become massive. So that's why they're texting you and asking you to come on out, claiming that Trump and Elon Musk is going against your interest, when these people have been going through against our interest the whole time, undermining us. This has nothing to do with Trump. And the reason why they have an issue with Trump, right? And that's why I stated, let them fight their own battles. Well, they have a problem with Trump because Trump knew that they were siphoning these money through all these programs under USAID the whole time, using USAID as their slush fund. claiming they're going into Africa to help the ailing Africans from diseases, but really set up their own nonprofit organizations, siphoning money using black suffering as an affront. So Trump always knew politically how they were getting down, using these nonprofit situations to fund their own lifestyles. So no sooner as Trump got into office, he started to attack their slush funds. This is why the white liberals are up in arms and let's come out and flood the streets and all this. Because of what? What do you think Trump said when he want the federal workers to come on in and they must work from the buildings now instead of working remote? Folks, these people were out there not working at all, traveling to other countries, working on their computer, making millions upon millions of dollars off of what? The suffering in our communities. We weren't getting anything. We're getting put out of our houses and all these others. And they were sitting there on the beach somewhere with their laptops, having Mai Tais in these so-called social political circles, using their black nonprofit businesses to siphon all this money through USAID. That's why the Democrats, the white liberals, are up in arms. He's going after their secret funds. He knew what they were doing the whole time. And when they tried to destroy him and throw all these charges on him and do all these things, he was just rubbing his hands and saying, if I'm ever in office, I'm going to expose and take away all of your slush money. And that's where it's at, folks. But they know that what? They know that this cannot happen. That this particular protest will become a dud if our people don't participate. The feminist movement could not do anything unless our people participated. The civil rights movement couldn't have done anything until our people participated. And now everyone else, gays, immigrants, Asians, everyone has now benefited off of the blood, suffering, and death of our people. All the way up to George Floyd being paraded around by them as if they cared about us so that they can have slush funds off of our people. How long are we going to continue allowing them to use us like this? As soon as our people start mentioning, well, what about our people? Your intersexuality has nothing to do with my interests or my moral codes. So how can I be inclusive with you when my God and what I believe in disagree with your lifestyle? And if you got the right to be that way, it's okay. Well, I have the right to disagree. And our interests can never align. See, if we knew that Black Lives Matter was an intersexual movement, we wouldn't have went out there marching. They made us believe it was because a black man was killed unjustly. So the Most High is saying, Israel, and folks, I've been saying this, how many years I've been telling you all, don't go out there. Don't go out there. Even when George Floyd thing was happening, I said, don't go out there. Because they need the power and the spirit of Israel's emotions and political sachet. They need our energy for any movement. And I'm so glad our people are waking up. I'm so glad we're waking up, and we're going to talk about this on the other side. I'm back on Patreon, y'all. Let's rock.
Look, T, what ain't T? Let's talk about it. So, April 5th, y'all, it got sent to my inbox umpteen times. Both inboxes on both of my pages, which is really crazy because people really wanted me to sip this tea. April 5th, they're supposed to have a march for what's going on in this world. My people, sit down. We ain't doing no marching.
Go on, sister.
We ain't do none of this.
That's
we
right.
ain't put none of this into no place. We ain't want none of the stuff that's going on going on. So what do you do during this time? You sat down. Get your little snack, baby. Here, this kind. Matter of fact, this crack corn, go ahead and order y'all something out of my showcase on TikTok shop. Sit down, get your little crack corn, put soap in your bag, put on your comfortable socks, get your little blanket, and watch the show. We ain't got nothing to do with this. Don't try to string us and bring us along in the mat. We ain't take no part to this, so we ain't got nothing to do with what's going on now either.
Go on, sister.
None of it. Exclude yourself, baby. Don't put on now tennis shoe, now running shoe, now none of that. Get on your couch.
I'm going to tell you, folks, and brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you. They're more afraid of what I've just shown you on the other side of this than anything. There was never a time or a movement where our sisters weren't right there in the forefront of it. I need y'all to think about this, folks. Feminists wouldn't have been able to pop off if our black women didn't stand with them, with Gloria Steinem. Don't forget, a lot of the civil rights thing when it comes to the marches, guess what spearheaded the march? The civil rights march, the nonviolence march. It was Rosa Parks. You come all the way up to Black Lives Matter. They intentionally spearheaded it with 3 black women. Now, I don't agree with 2 of their lifestyles, but black women usually is the voice that galvanize in our communities and knock on doors and get everyone else involved. So guess what, folks? They're more afraid of what I just showed you right here with this sister than anything. Because when our sisters sit down, nothing happens. Nothing happens. It was the sisters galvanizing things, knocking on doors, even during the pandemic, trying to convince other people to get the stuff and all that. But this is a sign right here, brothers and sisters, when our sisters saying, listen, we've been doing everything that we thought was right for everyone else, and we're sitting here at the bottom without family, without our men, without our families intact. No longer. Black women are going to begin to stomp for their own going forward. Watch what I tell you. Because they stomp for gays. They stomp for everybody else. And our sisters are loving that way. But guess what? They're at the bottom. And no one even cares if they die without men. No one cares if they're getting put out right now. The white liberals have been using our sisters for years, and now our sisters are starting to see, well, hold up. There's no benefit at the end of this for us.
Get your little snack and tune in to the show. Okay? Thank y'all for sipping a limo tea with Auntie. Bye, y'all.
All my black folks, y'all better not be there trying to protest or rally. Make sure on April 5th that you are at home, at work, minding your business, reading a book, learning a new skill, your content. But make sure you're just not at that rally. Make sure you're not at that protest. Like, it's not for us. Let them fight their own battles. Like, we show up, it's not going to turn out pretty. It's going to get ugly, bringing me back in time. Like, I'm really trying to more focus on this TikTok stain or not. Like, I'm not focusing on that. Oh my God. Did y'all hear what's going on? Like, April 5th, they're having like a mass mobilization day, a lot of protesting, rallying, and this is for the march called Hands Off. The reason why they're...
And no, we would rather Trump have hands on. Let them do everything they're doing, because for years we've been telling you, folks, that they've been using our poverty to financially benefit themselves, that they've been stealing money. Folks, don't you know they got people that are 120 years old collecting Social Security right now with businesses and all that? Think about that. Someone that's dead already. Dead people's Social Security numbers been found. Where now immigrants come over, get a dead Social Security number, and set up a business. Probably in your neighborhood while you're suffering. And guess what? If you go for a grant or a loan, they'll turn you down. They'd rather give it to an immigrant using a dead person's Social Security number than you. An Indian or somebody from Asia.
You're calling that based on what I researched. You know, Trump and Elon Musk are basically putting their hands on everything they can right now with our healthcare, our jobs, our data, our services. You know, this protest is supposed to be like hands off. Like, you know, you guys are trying to control everything. And it's like, no, we're not for this. You know, we're trying to get our economy back and our government back. It's not going to be a peaceful protest if you're going against Trump and Elon Musk. Like, it's not going to be pretty.
And you know what? Listen. Of course, we got some funny ones on the other side. Fair use.
Black people, take your black ass inside. Black people, take your black ass inside.
Fair use.
Black people, take your black ass inside.
Fair use.
And in case y'all were wondering, April 5th is not for us. Yes, millions will be protesting, but our black asses will not be out there. They are literally calling us to the front lines. Don't do it.
I had to remake this video because I started crying.
Our people are waking up, brothers and sisters. And guess what? If any black people go out there, don't forget, in their little circles probably, they was like, listen, if any black people come out, we must embrace them and put them at the front of the line. The white liberals are saying, listen, it doesn't work with us. But if any black fools come out here, we're going to make sure we put them in the front of all photo ops. So guess what? Because by doing that, the provocateurs, when they start issues on the other side, what happens? The jackboots come in, and the first people they're going to begin to knock over the head are our people. Right? You can have a black person there and one of these white liberals who want... because don't forget, even during George Floyd's march, after he was killed, whatever the narratives are out there, right? Black people started saying, well, hold up, there was white people in mass that were actually blowing everything up and throwing Molotov cocktails and causing all the vandalism. Now, these white kids could have been from suburbia somewhere. They live right next to the Republicans, folks. But then it's our neighborhoods burned down. And now it's us being thrown in jail. And now when they declare military, who do you think they're coming after? Who do you think they're coming after? Because now the business owners must get in front and say, well, we need some protection for our businesses. And that's where Donald Trump comes in. Donald Trump comes in and say, we're not going to allow what happened during the protest of Black Lives Matter to happen again. I'm going to deploy the military to protect businesses. So again, I said it earlier. These protests, folks, have nothing to do with anything, but at the end of the day, blacks, Judah, will become the indirect target. If there was ever a march our people benefited from, I need someone to tell me which march that was, and looking at how torn apart our families are now, what was the benefit? What was the benefit? With that, let me end it with this scripture here. And then we're going to go over the Patreon and look at these videos and talk a little bit more about this. And I want you all to tell me whether or not the DNC have been blowing up your phone through text and email to try to get you out there tomorrow. Right? And I'm interested to see what's going to happen out there with some of the speaking going on in those major metropolitan areas when it comes to those who are dropping the word in the midst of these nut jobs on the streets. All in the central squares of these particular major metropolitans. I'm interested to see how that's going to work out, right? Let me read this real quick before segueing over, and we're going to do 1 hour of Patreon. Patreon.com/AGathering144. That's right, I'm back. 1 hour, we're going to talk, right? Let me get this here. Eastward. This is what God is saying, the Most High, the God of the Hebrews. Babylon, Isaiah 48. Let me start at Isaiah 41, verse 7. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. These nations are out of their minds, including these crazy white liberals who are, a lot of them allegedly are occultists. They hate the Bible, they hate God. And a lot of them, based on the policies that they've actually shaped, hate us. How can you knowingly get money for the inner city through nonprofits, seeing the suffering of our people, and not help the people that have financially grandized you, that you've been financially grandized off of? To them, the interest for them is to keep you destitute or impoverished, because that's how their nonprofits are continually funded. They must show underprivileged Israelites. See? They're mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Folks, it was our people pointing to the injustices of Babylon and marching and losing our lives so that everyone else can benefit. We tried to heal Babylon. I need y'all to think about that. It was our people marching for the injustices while the white people sit back to get all the benefits without any death. We being thrown in jail and everything else. When there was something wrong, it's always the children of Israel, Judah at the forefront of it. We tried to heal this place. It's us. We were out there giving out tracts, telling everybody come to the church, repent, find Christ. We're stomping on the ground even when we were Christians as the moral compass for America. And then the Most High gave us the awakening as Israelites. Went on the street and telling all people that a judgment is coming here for their evil, their satanic perversions, and their continual wickedness. A nation that refuses to repent. That's us by the Most High warning the people as the prophets did before the judgment. We tried to heal Babylon. And the Most High was like, okay, you're trying to hold up what I'm looking to destroy? well, I'm going to destroy you trying to hold this up. Because these people who you're trying to hold up hates you. They've always undermined you. So if you try to hold these people up that I'm seeking to destroy, you try to get in front of these people I'm seeking to destroy, I'm knocking you off. That's the judgment of God in this Bible. You go out and march with them if you want. Because out there going to be nothing but trans people and every other people that will publicly state that they are against God. People that's down with what they would call abortion and other things. We try to heal them, and what happens? They turn around and stick the knives right in our back. No sooner as the George Floyd thing was over and it was time for Biden got in the office through all of the emotional sachet they received with black people marching. And no sooner as he got in office, he signed an anti-hate bill for Asians, you go out there if you want. All they need is a provocation to show. And if the cameras are there, guess who the cameras are going to be looking for? They're going to be looking for the simple blacks that are out there. And the camera's going to stay on them. Because what they're going to do is have the cameras follow them. And the provocation, the people who's causing issues, they're going to be the ones behind them, the white liberals causing all of the damage. But it's going to be the black faces getting all the press. Watch what I tell you. And if they can't get away with it tomorrow, April 5th, believe me, they have all of summer to stoke some type of provocation through marches. Watch what I tell you. And the Bible states what? We would have healed Babylon. But she is not healed. She doesn't want to be healed, folks. And it says, forsake her and let us go everyone into our own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and lifteth even to the skies. So what is that saying? In a nutshell, especially at a time where our people have no country to go to. Spiritually, we're saying, you know what? We're not participating. Right? We aren't participating. This have nothing to do with us. We're going to stay amongst our own people in Goshen. We're going to stay in our own communities. Don't knock on our doors. Don't text our phones. Don't give us no email. And don't try to claim to these other people, well, you should have actually just followed the black vote and we wouldn't be in this situation. Liar. They still try to make people believe that our people in number was for Kamala. That's a lie. Okay? That's a lie. The majority of us realized the game and said, you know what, we're not participating. Come on. Well, 90% of the black women went out and no one else listened. They're only pandering to the weak-minded women who would think that. 80% of the black men, 80% of the black men that you know voted. The majority of us did not. So don't fall for it, folks. Don't let them lure you into the politics to make you believe that the Democrats care about you. If they cared about you when they got that money, all that nonprofit money through USAID, all that money that Elon Musk and Donald Trump is finding, well, if they cared about you, guess what? They would have broken you off with some of that money. Huh? If they cared about you. They don't mind giving it to 200,000 Ukrainians. With that, shalom. See you on the other side. Patreon.com/AGathering144. Let the world fight their own battles. Okay? And also, let me do this real quick in advance. In advance. Hold on. Let me do some of this in advance. Here is that's also the Zoom link for those in Patreon who would like to come in through Zoom. Okay, I'll see you here in a couple of moments. We're going 1 hour. Let the world fight their own battles. I want to know whether or not the DNC tried to reach out to you. It's not your fight. Shalom, Hebrew and Bible Academy. We're going into the history of Islam this coming Sunday to show you that Islam was a religion that was made to undermine and also keep our people divided throughout the earth, not just here in America. It's a divisive tool that's been used by Esau and Ishmael. That's right, the Vatican as well as the Arabs to keep the children of Israel divided. We're no longer falling for the lies that's called Islam. It's a divisive political tool, religious tool that was put in place to keep us disconnected from our God. We'll be talking about that this coming Sunday, which is the theme, the battle or the war of the gods. How many gods do Arabs truly worship, including Allah? Well, that and more will be divulged this Sunday. HistoryTimes.org. See you then. But in the meantime, for your loyal Patreonies, go to Patreon.com/AGathering144 and let's have a conversation. I'm willing to answer any questions you might have, even outside of the topic. But again, we're going to start off with what? Let the world fight their own battles. Matthew 12:25, Christ told us that a nation divided against itself cannot stand. Let Esau fight their own battles. They're the ones benefiting from this place anyway. Okay, stand on the side and get your popcorn. Okay, do not go out there April 5th or any more protests going forward. Okay, if they're not saying anything publicly on what they're going to do specifically for you and no one else included, don't listen to it. Okay? Have a great Sabbath. I'll see you all tomorrow. And let's go to Patreon, Patreon.com/AGathering144. And we're only keeping the Patreon at $5 monthly so we can have these private conversations one-on-one outside of this particular social networking on YouTube. And it gives you an opportunity to also continually support the work. Patreon.com/AGathering144. We'll see you in a couple of moments. Blessings.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With the great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. to a land where no mankind dwelt. We went, the 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Dolly from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us. Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled and fed. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Together us in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. Our highest gathering Israel. Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians. Our highest gathering Israel. Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be, Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Dolly from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon.